Donald Trump and the stooges in his administration would have you believe that Joe Biden is still president. The economy is tanking? Blame Joe Biden. Commit a crime? Blame Joe Biden. Hell, you stub your toe? Blame Joe Biden because he's the... Oh, wait, no, he's not the president. It's Donald Trump, and he is the one screwing us over along with all of his stooges, which is something that Kristi Noem had to confront this morning on air, but she just couldn't, completely melting down, and it only got worse when she was caught admitting her crimes. We are going to get into it all and what was just a disaster interview. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into Kristi Noem admitting to her crimes and melting down, I want to start with her latest attempt to blame Joe Biden following a devastating shooting in D.C., which Donald Trump is trying to use to ramp up tensions, attack the prior administration, but it's just not working.
I want to be very clear about this because his asylum was approved in April of this year on the Trump administration's watch. So just to be very clear, was there a vetting process in place to approve that asylum request?
Yeah, the vetting process all happened under Joe Biden's administration.
But was he vetted when he was granted asylum? Are you saying he wasn't vetted when he was granted asylum?
Vetting is happening when they come into the country, and that was completely abandoned under Joe Biden's administration. That's the irresponsibility that has completely devastated our country, Kristen, put us in such a dangerous position. I don't think people realized when Joe Biden was in the White House exactly how he was allowing our country to be infiltrated with people that we didn't know who they were. Some of them we did know were dangerous, and we went after as soon as they came into this country. But under this program, we could have up to 100,000 people that came in from Afghanistan that may be here to do us harm. And President Trump is absolutely dedicated to getting them out of our country.
So either Kristi Noem is telling us that she doesn't understand who she granted asylum to, they didn't do their due diligence in the process, or she doesn't know that Joe Biden wasn't president in April. There really isn't a good excuse that they can formulate. And you saw, as you always do when things don't go exactly how Trump wants them to do in response to a devastating tragedy like this, them kind of turn the temperature down a little bit. You know, they stopped blaming the administration as much. They kind of just focused it on a more broad racist approach. And that's what this administration, as it always does, has really started to undertake recently. There's been a lot of attacks on Somalis. Donald Trump just broadly is saying that all immigration has to stop. He knows that MAGA has fractured, and he thinks that there's one thing that can bring them back together, and that's bigoted attacks, which Kristi Noem actually couldn't answer for when asked about a racist term that Donald Trump and the stooges in this government continue to use. She just couldn't answer.
President Trump wrote on Thursday, quote, "Only reverse migration can fully cure this situation." On Friday, DHS posted, quote, "Remigration now." As you probably know, this term has been used in different situations, but including by the far right in Europe to call for the mass deportation of non-white immigrants. How specifically does the Trump administration define remigration?
Well, President Trump has been working towards cleaning up the mess that Joe Biden left us ever since he came into the White House.
But how do you define that word, Secretary Noem? How do you define that word?
Well, first of all, we have criminal illegal aliens we've been targeting since day one. We have removed millions of people from this country already just in the few short months that President Trump has been president by making sure we're going after criminal illegal aliens that are murderers, rapists, and criminals and getting them out of our country, bringing them to justice, and then encouraging people to go home. If you're here illegally and breaking our laws, you can leave now, and you may get the opportunity to come back someday. But if you wait until we detain you, and we will deport you, and you'll never get the chance to come back to America and visit us or become a citizen. We're going to continue to do that, go after those criminals, go after those individuals that came in under programs that were broken on the Biden administration and people who were in place and leadership in that crazy 4 worlds we lived through, 4 years we lived through before President Trump came in. Thank God we have a president now that recognizes that letting all of these people into our country that we don't know who they are is dangerous.
If you want to use the racist word, Kristi, how about you go ahead and stand by it? They're literally targeting people based on race. They won't say that that's the case. They'll show us it is, and then they get afraid and they get mad when we confront them over it. But that is what this is. It is a racist approach to a broken immigration system. That is what Donald Trump wants to carry out. If he does not like the way you look, and they have made this clear, they will take you up off the street and ship you to another state to throw you in a prison cell before they ship you to a country that you've never been to, illegally, mind you, as courts demand that they stop. And we saw that earlier this year. Kristi Noem confronted with court orders telling her to stop trafficking Americans, trafficking citizens, trafficking non-offenders. And of course, she ignored it. And it's all coming out now. Kristi Noem was confronted with it, and just listen to this non-answer.
In a filing in federal court this week, the Justice Department said that when the administration was ordered back in March to stop sending detained migrants to a mega prison in El Salvador, you personally made the final call to continue the flights anyway. Is that correct? Do you acknowledge that?
You know, we have court filings going on and decisions that are going forward. I'll let them continue to play through that process.
But did you make that
I'm
call?
proud of President Trump and his leadership and the decisions that we have made. And the decisions that are made on deportations, where flights go and when they go, are my decision at the Department of Homeland Security. And we will continue to do the right thing and ensure that dangerous criminals are removed.
So that you're saying that it was your decision. It sounds like the judge wanted.
I foresee a lot of, while there are investigations going on, I can't really talk about that. I'm not able to right now in the future with this administration, especially when it comes to the Epstein files. I can definitely foresee a lot of, well, we really can't talk about that. And Kristi, we know you don't want to talk about it because you broke the law. You committed a crime. You are trafficking people. You are shipping them illegally to countries they have never been, to torture prisons that no human being should have to endure. And that is what Kristi Noem has on her for the rest of her life. And she should be held accountable for those crimes. This is a disgusting administration that does not care about the law. We have seen that time and time again. When it even comes to legal immigration, of course, they are going after everybody. And of course, when Kristi Noem was confronted with that, could she answer? No.
About how the administration is responding. President Trump on Thursday promised to, quote, permanently pause migration from all third world countries. Is the administration ending all legal immigration into the United States?
The president is absolutely determined to stop all processes at this point in time from third world countries until we can have a thorough opportunity to go through these individuals, know that they're here for the right intentions, and that they even should be in our country to begin with. He's putting Americans first, their safety first, and these third world countries don't have stable governments. They can't sustain them. They can't tell us who they are. And that's really the consequence of what we're seeing unfold with the violence on our streets, is because these countries that people have been traveling to our shores from for so many years under the Biden administration, their governments didn't tell us who they were. We don't have a proper vetting process. So that's one of the things I'm so grateful for, is that President Trump has been bold enough to say, you know what, we're going to stop. We're not going to allow this to continue until we have a process in place that ensures that it actually has integrity for people that will protect us and keep us safe.
Well, the director.
I don't know if it's the Botox filling her head or just an inability to exercise any basic communication skills, but it's been a lot of non-answers through this interview, which really just kind of goes to show you the panic state that this administration is in, because they're usually guns blazing, saying, oh, everything that dear leader Trump is doing is fantastic and great and wonderful, and we love it, and he's so amazing, and did you see how beautiful he looked on Thanksgiving? And I love him so much, and I wish I could be with him all the time. That's what we usually hear. But it's kind of more, well, Joe Biden, and well, I can't answer that because Joe Biden and AutoPen, and they have nothing left. They're running out of ammo, and they're running out of people to back them. They really are. The coalition has fractured in a major way, and if you want to take a look at how, just take a look at the armed services committees in the Senate and the House, who are now calling for investigations. The Republicans chairing up those committees, calling for investigations into Pete Hegseth's crime. If that is not the greatest show of fracturing in MAGA yet, I'm not sure what is. They backed this guy when he was leaking war plans because they thought, well, we can't really disagree with the dear leader. We kind of got to let him do what he wants. They confirmed the guy, for God's sakes. And now they're starting to wake up to the fact that they actually can push back. They should have from the beginning. I don't know if it should have taken war crimes for them to finally step in. But Mark Kelly, who has been the loudest voice in calling all of this out, continued to this morning in his takedown of Pete Hegseth.
They are legally required not to follow that.
Do you think that constitutes an illegal order?
I think there needs to be an investigation, and I hope that the reporting is not accurate. I care so much about the United States Navy and those service members. This was an operation involving the most professional members of the military, U.S. Navy SEALs, who I revere. I hope and pray that this is not true. But there needs to be an investigation by the Inspector General. Pete Hegseth fired many of the inspectors general in DOD. But who's ever left needs to investigate it. We're going to investigate it. I sit on the Armed Services Committee. We're going to have an investigation. We're going to have a public hearing. We're going to put these folks under oath, and we're going to find out what happened, and then there needs to be accountability.
Let me ask you.
The illegality in this administration is rampant, and I would like to repeat the line that I'm going to be repeating a lot from Eric Swalwell, which is save your texts, save your emails, save all of the messages you've sent, anything you've written down. There will be consequences for the lawlessness of this administration. There have to be. This cannot be, come 2026, come 2028, a moment for the country to heal, and we have to move on, and we have to get past this. I remember in the Biden administration, for 3 years, we wouldn't even utter Donald Trump's name, and we should have been. Because as his historically low approval rating reflects now, when people hear Donald Trump's name, they fucking hate it. We should have been saying Donald Trump's name all the time. It shouldn't have been the former guy or he who must not be named or, make a joke about it. No. There will be no making jokes about Stephen Miller. Oh, remember when we had the drunk Secretary of Defense? Oh, that was bad. No. It should be like, remember when we had that drunk Secretary of Defense? He's in prison now for war crimes. Seriously. We cannot move on without rectifying the damage that has been done and teaching a lesson to people who thought they could break our government for their own gain. Business leaders have come to the White House and given Donald Trump trophies because he's scared of what they can do to him, or he can do to them. What about a Democratic president who says we're breaking up the union busting? We're breaking up monopolistic corporations. You will pay living wages. No more handouts to corporations who do not pay their employees. When we put some pressure on the business community, they've came and they've given Trump trophies. They've bent the knee. They've thrown him parties. Do you not think that we can get some concessions to make people's lives better? There will be pressure put on everyone who capitulated. It's not just going to be public. It's going to be some prison for Stephen Miller. And I'm standing by that. We're standing on business. We're going to keep calling him out. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. Until next time, I'll see you soon.